Let them think you're stupid. The art of strategic underestimation. A boardroom. 6 people around the table. The character sits quietly near the middle, notepad in front of him, coffee to the side. A senior colleague, confident, loud, is presenting a plan. His plan. He glances at the character once and says, almost as an aside, "I simplified it a bit so everyone could follow along." A few people smile. Someone looks at the character to see his reaction. He has none. He nods slightly, takes a small note, goes back to listening. The meeting ends. The colleague leaves without looking back. The character stays seated. He finishes his note, then he closes the notebook. Here is what that note said. And here's what happens next. But first, you need to understand why he didn't react, why he didn't correct the colleague, why he didn't signal, even subtly, that the comment landed where it was aimed. Because what looked like restraint was not restraint. It was strategy. The oldest and most effective strategy available to the person in that room. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what the character was doing and why the colleague just made the most expensive mistake of his career without knowing it. The character at his desk, replaying the meeting, not with frustration, with analysis. Here is the first pattern, and the one most people get exactly backwards. The myth is that performance signals intelligence, that the person who speaks most clearly, most often, is being correctly evaluated as the most capable. The character pulls out a document, the actual plan he had already written 3 weeks before the colleague presented his version. He sets it on the desk. Every time you perform intelligence, correct someone to show you know more, make sure the room knows you understood, you are revealing your hand. You are showing your insecurities in the very act of trying to hide them. Think about the people you actually respect most. The ones whose intelligence you are certain of without being able to point to the moment they proved it. They do not perform. Their intelligence is not a claim. It is a conclusion you arrived at on your own. The person who lets you think they are not paying attention is always paying the most attention. Stop performing. Start accumulating. A corridor. The character passes the colleague, thinks who manages a half-second of casual dismissal before continuing his conversation. The character says hello, keeps walking, gives nothing. What the colleague doesn't know, he is now completely unmanaged around the character. This is the second pattern, the Shield of Invisibility. When someone believes you are not a threat, they stop performing for you. The managed version of a person, the one designed for eyes that are paying attention, comes down. The real version surfaces. Real intentions, actual plans, genuine insecurities, unpolished. The character cannot hear the colleague's conversation. He doesn't need to. Months of watching this person operate without their guard up have already given him everything. He knows the real position on the main project. He knows where the gaps are, not the ones the colleague talks about, like the ones he never mentions. He knows who the colleague has been cultivating and why. None of this was given deliberately. All of it was handed over by someone who didn't think he was watching. The person who appears to not be paying attention is always the best informed person in the room. A social gathering. The character moves through it easily. He is watching something specific. A person he has met before. Someone who sends small provocations into conversations and watches where they land. A social predator operating in low gear. The predator approaches. Within 2 minutes, makes a comment. Light enough to deny, pointed enough to test. Designed to produce a flicker of defensiveness. Hurt. A need to correct the record. The character smiles. Says something easy, surface level. gives nothing. The predator tries another angle. Same result. This is the third pattern. And the reason strategic underestimation is the most effective defense against social predators that exists. Manipulation depends on emotional legibility. The predator needs to see your reactions to calibrate their approach. Without that, they cannot build control. But here is the layer most people miss. In the process of trying to find a reaction, the predator reveals everything. The specific tests they run show exactly what they are looking for. The angles they try show exactly what tools they use. The escalation when the first approach fails shows exactly how they operate under pressure. The character, appearing to barely follow the conversation, is building a precise psychological profile with every exchange. The predator thinks they are reading the character. The character is reading the predator. And the predator will never know, because the performance of simplicity was perfect. Now, the loop closes. Back to the boardroom. The note the character wrote during the meeting.
Not a reaction.
We finally see what it
And a
said.
date.
Not a reaction to the simplification comment. 2 words and a date. The 2 words are the specific flaw in the plan, the structural problem that will cause it to fail. The date is when the failure becomes visible to the room. The character closes the notebook. He does not send an email. He does not flag it to leadership. He waits. 6 weeks later. Same boardroom. The plan has hit the exact problem he identified. The meeting is tense. The colleague is explaining. Nobody has good answers. Worse, the character speaks for the first time since this project began. One intervention. Precise, complete, already solved. The room pivots immediately. Nobody knows when he figured this out. Nobody knows how long he was holding it. Nobody knows that the simplification comment was the moment he decided to let the game play out. They just know that when it mattered, he was the only one with the answer.
They just know
That is strategic underestimation operating at full capacity.
He was the only one with the answer.
Stop performing intelligence. The energy spent managing perceptions of your capability is energy not spent developing it. Let the shield work. When people underestimate you, they hand you the unmanaged version of themselves. That information is more valuable than any impression you could have made. Become unreadable to predators. Give them nothing. Learn everything, and then hold the answer until the moment it matters. The character in the corridor after the meeting. The colleague passes him. Something has shifted. A recalibration, visible and genuine. The character responds easily, warmly. The same simple manner he has always had. He hasn't changed. Only the colleague's understanding of him has. That was always the point. Subscribe. Because every week, we go deeper into the psychology of the observer. The strategies that were always available to you. The power that lives inside the traits the world spent years telling you to fix. Let them think you're stupid. They'll figure out the truth eventually. By then, you'll already be done.